This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Gooder and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And it's a somber day, September 10th, in Spring World in 1978, as one of the worst F1 accidents of all time happened. It's the 1978 Italian Grand Prix, the 14th race of the 1978 Formula One season. There were only 3 races left, and Mario Andretti had a chance to win the World Drivers' Championship. His teammate Ronnie Peterson was in second with Niki Lauda in third place. So it's down to Andretti and Peterson, who both were fighting it out with Lotus Ford. In fact, yeah, that's what happened. So it was Monza, September 10th, 1978. At the start of the pack was Mario Andretti, the American legend. Yeah, everyone knows his legendary lineage through the IndyCar circuit, but people forget that Mario Andretti first raced in F1 for many years. Taking the other spot on the front row, headed to Italy into the event at Monza, was Gilles Villeneuve, the great Canadian, with Jean-Pierre Jaboulet and Niki Lauda making the second row. Ronnie Peterson took 5th place, and Riccardo Patrese took 12th in qualifying. There were 24 racers ready to go. The race started at 3:30 Italian time, or 12:30, it started at 3:30 Central European time, which would be 15:30 by some source. And because the Eastern time zone is 6 hours behind Italy, it started at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Anyway, Patrick Tambay had to go into the pits to have his gear change looked at. And the starter was overly enthusiastic on the green lights before all the cars lined up. So the light system happened that there would be 5 green lights and then they'll stop. Several cars in the middle of the field got the jump on those at the front. Unfortunately, the cars were too tightly bunched with little room for maneuver. James Hunt was overtaken by Riccardo Patrese. And then Hunt veered left and accidentally hit the right wheel of Peterson's Lotus. We have a lot of other racers in the relay. Vittorio Brambilla, Hans Joachim Stuck, Patrick Depailler, Didier Pironi, Derek Daly, Clay Regazzoni, and Brett Lunger. Peterson's Lotus went into the barriers hard on the right-hand side and caught fire. He was trapped, but thankfully he was freed from the wreck by Hunt, Regazzoni, and Depailler. Of course, I did talk about James Hunt in a birthday boy thing late in August, but anyhow, he was drug-free, and he was actually fully conscious, but with leg injuries, so that was good. 20 minutes later, medical help was dispatched to the scene, but it took too long, in my mind. Brambilla was actually rendered unconscious because he had been hit on the head by a flying wheel. Peterson was taken to a hospital in Milan. So the restart happened. Drivers were allowed to use spare cars for the race restart. No Peterson or Brambilla who were in the hospital. Stuck was actually hurt. Stuck and Pironi and Lunger did not have any spare car available, so they couldn't race. So after an hour and 45 minutes after the race was supposed to start, they did the restart. Unfortunately, Joni Schachter's car lost the wheel and crashed at the second curve. The barrier was later repaired and ready for the restart. The race would start at 6:15 Italian time, but it would be shortened from 52 to 40 laps because of sunset, and F1 didn't race at night. But in the end, Niki Lauda ended up winning the race, taking down John Watson of England by 1.48 seconds. Carlos Reutemann of Argentina took third. Gilles Villeneuve took seventh. Ricardo Patrese couldn't race because of engine problems. Clay Regazzoni couldn't race. There were a lot of people. Jean-Pierre Jaboulet had engine problems. Keke Rosberg, legitimately great driver, but he couldn't qualify for it. Anyway, it looked pretty good. So, anyway, that's what happened. At the hospital, Peterson's x-ray showed that he had 27 fractures in both legs. Peterson was then given to intensive care so that the surgeons could operate to stabilize their bones. Unfortunately, for some strange reason, Peterson's condition during the night worsened and he had a fat embolism. It occurs when fat enters the bloodstream and receives some symptoms. Unfortunately, he would be in full kidney failure due to the embolism. And the morning of September 11th, 1978, he was declared dead. So it seemed that Peterson just had leg problems and all that. So that would be humongous. And Peterson died. It was just shocking. Ronnie Peterson was a great driver for Sweden and a great driver in life. But unfortunately, he passed away of the accident. The guy who got a lot of the blame was Ricardo Patrese. Because, Patrese actually had a reputation for aggressive driving because he was over aggressive, thanks to Ronnie Peterson and James Hunt, and that was blamed for the incident that led to Ronnie Peterson dying, but it was his embolism. But one of the causes was the premature start by the Monza race director because the cars of the rear field could catch up to those in the midfield and the front because of the green signal and all that, and there was a 10-car pileup. Of course, the next race was the U.S. Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. Hunt, Lauda, Mario Andretti, Emerson Fittipaldi, Jody Scheckter refused to race unless Patrese was banned. Patrese was booted from the race and all that, despite all that, because his team Arrows withdrew his entry due to pressure from the organizers in the FIA. He was allowed to race at the next race in Canada, taking fourth. Patrese was not that good and all that. And James Hunt, when he became commentator for F1 races from 1980 to 1993, were regularly had bitter diatribes against Patrese because of this. They said that it was Patrese's muscling pass that caused Hunt's car and Peterson's car to touch. Patrese argued that he was well ahead of the pair before the accident took place. Patrese and the race director were to stand trial for the Italian criminal court for manslaughter on Peterson's death. Fortunately for Patrese and Rostilli, they were both cleared of wrongdoing in 1981. So, yeah, all that. And that is one of the main reasons why James Hunt decided to retire from F1 in '79 because of Ronnie Peterson's death. Yeah, I know how bitter James Hunt was, but Patrese didn't deserve all the blame. He was deserved some of the blame, but there were other factors too. Worst of all is that ABC broadcasted as part of their Wide Wheel of Sports with Jim McKay and Jackie Stewart commentating on it. And Jackie Stewart made some comments about that too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that was just shocking. American viewers got to see that accident, but they obviously showed that race because they were trying to get Mario Andretti to, well, say if Mario Andretti would win the drivers' championship, which he kind of did. So yeah, all fair in love of war, I guess. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.